Hello and welcome to the Bronco Exchange. I'm your host, Dr. Shanessa Fenner, and today I have a co-host named Aliyou. Welcome, Aliyou.
Hello, thank you.
And today our guest is Fayetteville's Mayor, Mitch Colvin. Welcome, Mayor.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate that.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you for that. I am one of the few folks that you run into that's born and raised here in the city of Fayetteville. In fact, I grew up right around the corner in the Broadale community. 44 years old. I have 3 wonderful daughters. 2 are off in college, and I have a 13-year-old that's still here. And I'm the owner of Colvin Funeral Homes and Crematory, and it was a family business I took over nearly 20 years ago, and we've expanded to a couple locations. But since 2013, I've served on the City Council. Last 2 years, I've served previously as the Mayor Pro Tem and representing the district in which I grew up in, which has been a wonderful experience. And last year, I decided to try to elevate my level of service and run for mayor, and was successful. So I'm appreciative to the citizens for the confidence.
And that was my next question, Mitch. What made you run for mayor?
Well, you know, the same drive that prompted me to get involved in public service. You know, I was just very frustrated with the progress or lack thereof of my community in 2013, and I thought in order to be a change agent, you had to be in the game. And when I got in council, you know, it's a lot more to change, and the more you see, and the more you would like to play a part. And so as a council member, you represent a district, and you're somewhat limited as to how you can advocate for the entire city. And I was concerned with the direction of Fayetteville, quite honestly. And as Mayor Pro Tem, you still represent your district, but I had a little more authority to work with other council members. And so I knew we were at a pivotal time in the community. I knew that either we had to make some very good forward-thinking decisions in order for us to keep up with our municipal peers, or we'd be left behind. And so I decided to project my vision to the citizens, and thankfully they supported it.
Okay, so once again, congratulations on winning.
Thank you.
But now that you have the job, what are your plans on going forward? What are your plans within your term and even after your terms?
Political plans, or the plans for the city as the mayor? Is that what you?
Your plans for the city.
Oh yeah. So. You know, we've got a lot of great things in store. You know, we're trying to revitalize our downtown area. That's important for any city to have the heart of the city, a thriving area that attracts people. And we, you know, the way I see Fayetteville, we really have an opportunity to be a regional destination player. And so in a 9-county area, we're like the largest city in our region. And so I think that we need to establish our presence. I have a very grave concern about our workforce, to make sure that we have the kind of capable workforce that companies and corporations are looking for. I think they've overlooked our community in the past because of that, or we have all of the tools that it takes to do it. I just think we need to sharpen it up and have a strategic plan as to how we market that. And then finally, I am also concerned with improving the quality of life here. And so we need more walkability in the city. We need more sidewalks, and our streets need to be in better shape, and our stormwater. And so I have that, and the last thing I'd say is I have a real concern to get participation and get buy-in from the millennial generation like yourself. My daughters, both have gone off to school, and I ask them all the time, are you planning to come back to your city? And they say, well, Dad, you know, first the answer was absolutely not, and now I've got that to a maybe. And so I've got to work hard to make Fayetteville an attractive place for the next generation.
Okay, so you said you want to help and bring more millennial people, but one problem I've realized with people of my age is we're lazy. How do you plan on motivating them to give back to the city?
Great.
Well, he said that. I mean, right. So,
that's a great question.
No, so it's a great question. So here's the thing. I think that generation, from what I can see, they're energetic about what interests them, okay? And so the things that you are interested in, I think that you can do it, and I believe that you can do it well. And so one of the ideas that I had was get your generation engaged, is to have a millennial advisory council to where we've got people your age coming in to speak to the leadership of the city on either monthly or quarterly basis to tell us what kind of things you would like to see in the city. And I think that as we do that, there's a certain group of companies that you fit right into the demographics that they're looking for as far as technology jobs and coding and some of the other certifications that can be done. I think that we have a real opportunity if we get the millennials engaged to provide some energy to it. And one of the things that I'm looking forward to is developing a stronger relationship with the city and Fayetteville State. You guys are a crown jewel in the community, and we would love to see Fayetteville State and its student and its student base be a part of the growth of the city.
Okay.
Okay. What is the city's biggest economic development opportunity right now?
Without question, I would say that is the development of the baseball stadium and the private investment going around the stadium. And so that should be roughly between $80 and $100 million worth of investment. The stadium is a $35 million investment that the city's making, a public investment. We're partnering with a world-class baseball team, the Houston Astros, to come into our community. And we have about $60 million worth of private investment that is committed to building up in and around that area. So I think that is the biggest opportunity, not so much as the direct jobs, but the indirect impact that it'll have to serve as a catalyst for growth in and around the downtown area. I think we've got a real opportunity with that.
Okay. I also want to talk a little bit about our teenagers. I know that they need to be busy in the summertime and all. What kind of job opportunities can we possibly come up with so we can keep our teenagers busy in the summertime?
That's a great question. Recently, the first meeting I had as City Council, I put on the agenda to ask Council to support a summer internship program, maybe the Fayetteville 500. Savannah, Georgia has a goal of hiring 500 teenagers that fit that demographics every summer to put them to work. And so it involves tie-in from the business community, from the city, and from the county, and some of the other governmental agencies, maybe our hospitals and our universities, to help give internship opportunities. I think, the city of Fayetteville has a buying power of nearly $15 million a month for goods and services. And I think that some of the people that we do business with can provide some opportunity to train some of our future leaders. And so I'm very concerned and looking forward to standing that up in the city.
So speaking of kids, once again, there have been quite a few rumors about the city planning on doing budget cuts towards schools, like their school buildings and teachers. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, schools are not a city-funded function. The state allows the counties to do that. And one of the things that, the state is cutting back on public school system, and I'm sure Dr. Fenner can speak to that
Sure
a lot better than I can. But it's a concern of ours, and so even though it is not a city function, it's a city problem because 208,000 residents have kids that are in the Cumberland County public school system, and we want to make sure that they have the best. And so what I think is that there may be some collaborative opportunities between the city to maybe do some after school. I have even proposed that as we recycle out of our computers and laptops, to maybe see if there's an opportunity to put some programs together to where the kids who may not have the capability to buy the resources that they need to do their homework or to do what's required of them. So it may be some opportunities there that the city can play a role in it, but as a primary function, that's the county's funding function.
All right. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. How will the city address homelessness and poverty? And that's something that seems to be increasing each day. You drive down the street and you see homeless people that's standing there with signs, and of course we have a large population of poverty. So how will you address those issues?
Well, homelessness is a little larger issue to tackle. I think that there's an opportunity first to continue to fund the community programs that concentrate on that, the Operation Inasmuch and some of the other programs that concentrate on providing enrichment for that population. I think there's also an opportunity for the city and county to partner on a homeless shelter, something that has the capacity to house some of our families. I understand that there are not a lot of opportunities for families. You may have structures that will take women and children, but not men. And so now you're separating the families. And so I think that the city and the county, we had some preliminary discussions about partnering on a homeless shelter. I think that's a possibility. As far as the poverty, that's I think on a long-term basis, there was an excellent plan put together by the NC Justice Center, and my former council member Devier and my current council member Larry Wright were very instrumental with the Pathways for Prosperity program, where basically they laid out what our issues are in the city of Fayetteville. And so, of course, it goes back to education, and it goes back to substance abuse. And so there are a number of factors that I think you got to have a lot of the players at the table to solve the problem. And we need to increase the educational output here, I think. And so there's a role in how we do that. And I think we need to make investment in some of these neighborhoods that hadn't had any public investment in nearly 50 years. Some of them within a walking distance of where we are right now.
Okay, so I'm not a politician, but one suggestion I do have, what about helping homeless people get more jobs?
I mean, look, absolutely. One of the leading causes to some of the population being homeless is economics. And so I think if there's an opportunity that we can encourage either the city or the county or some of our partners to hire some people of that population, or even some of our local businesses to do that, that's definitely a great idea. So you make a good politician. But I think that there are a number of other areas that you have to help that population to transition back into the regular mainstream part of society. But it's a great idea, though.
Thank you.
Now, Mitch, mental health is something that's also very key. What can we do to address, that issue, mental health?
That is a huge part to it, and again, most of the health and human services, the county is given that task by the state. But listen, the city has one requirement according to the state of North Carolina, and that is building inspections. Anything else is up to our discretion as to how we get involved in it. And I think that we've got to think that way. Mental health goes across and impacts a lot of the number of services that we are responsible for. So our police are constantly dealing with folks with mental health challenges. I think that our business communities and part, quite frankly, some of the other struggles that we have in the community are related to mental health. So I think that we need to bring players like Cape Fear Valley to the table, and we need to see what our opportunities are with some of the LMEs or the larger mental health organizations that provide services here. And we need to see if the city has a role to maybe put some resources into some of those minor programs, not the major programs, because I'm certain that would throw our budget off.
Okay, so excuse me. Speaking for people of my age group, a lot of people that I know have little to no hope in the government, right? Or feel like our government just don't care about us. I appreciate how earlier you said you want to target millennials and stuff, but I can't get my question right. But it's like how do we show them that there's an interest from the government? Yeah.
Well, I think it starts with a conversation. Like, until I talked to you, I really didn't know, what I can tell your personality types are, and you didn't know anything about me. And I think that as we bring that group to the discussion, because you can't talk around them. Any segment of our population that we don't involve and engage directly may feel that way. And I think that as far as I'm concerned, and many of the council members that I've talked to, it is all about the future. It's all about the millennials, as far as I'm concerned, because some of the policies that we put in place, you'll have to be the beneficiary of that, whether good or bad. And so we definitely need to hear from you and get you involved. And it starts with you guys joining some of the boards and commissions. It doesn't sound like anything that may be terribly interesting, but you can make it that way. And so we'd like to see more of the youth in the game.
And I guess sometimes, Mitch, I feel like that, we have a lot of conversations, but I don't see any action put to it, so how's that going to be different? What needs to happen?
Well, like you said, I mean, it's got to be more than talk. It's got to be action to it. And I think that, as far as I'm concerned, I'm kind of ain't about making a list of goals, and I try to check them off as we go. This has been one, and I certainly plan to take it to council, and if they give the support to it, we want to get it started. But there's nothing that the city of Fayetteville will be able to do by itself. It'll take buy-in from our school boards, We have the first ever, to my knowledge, joint city and school board meeting. I'm working with Chairman Kerry Sutton, about how we put that together. And so it'll take some buy-in from them, from the university and the community college systems to let's figure out how to get you guys involved.
Okay, well, I thank you so much, Mayor, for this conversation.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, audience, for viewing the Bronco Exchange. I'm your host, Dr. Shanessa Fenner.
Hypnotized, familiar stranger, wait, hold up, don't run.